Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining another episode of the Educational Leadership Podcast. We have Dr. Martha Salazar Zamora back on the podcast today. We are doing part two of our last interview. We only have so much time, but I know with our listeners, you all are busy as well. You're listening while you're driving, working out, or wherever. And so we'd like to break these segments up into short segments anyway. So now we have our part two. Uh, thank you. Thank you for joining us again.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. I'm excited. I'm always happy to talk about the great things happening in Tomball ISD and of course in education overall.
Yeah. I know on the last podcast, we were kind of diving into real estate investments that were made, partnerships with the community. And it's really amazing what y'all are doing as a district, just because there's such a strong connection with the community. Yeah, so just love to pick up where maybe something happened in the past few weeks that I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, well, so just to remind everybody, we kind of have a unique situation here in Tomball, Texas. I do believe we're probably the only school district in the nation that has a functional oil and gas hub or site in our district. And that is because the land that we purchased had been an oil and gas company for years, went bankrupt. We were able to come in and purchase the full site, now valued at over $400 million, purchase price 37.5. And on that site, we have 10 buildings. Building number one is rented. The district basically serves as a landlord, and our tenant is Baker Hughes, which is a functioning oil and gas company here in Texas. And then building two is office space. Building three is our early college. And we have their students have the capacity like other early colleges in Texas and in the nation where they can graduate from high school, and the expectation is that they walk away with not just a high school diploma, but an associate's degree free of charge. We've continued to grow that. We have a P-Tech, which is for students that are interested in anything related in the medical field. I serve on the the Hospital Corporation Association board, so the HCA board here. And as a board member, we've been able to partner in that so that our students can graduate and potentially continue to work for HCA while they're getting their degree, and HCA will help them with their advanced degrees, which is a very exciting partnership. Now we are looking at TAFE, which is a future educator pipeline. So our goal is that we could actually create a pipeline for students that are Tomball ISD high school students that will be able to advance, graduate from high school, have an associate's, and then continue their bachelor's degree and come back and work for us. So it's kind of a workforce turnaround in that case. That land that I'm talking about, that real estate, as you mentioned, has other property sites there. We have warehouse facilities, and we have a very large ag center. It's an agricultural center where we have an annual show, right? Our students show their animals and their projects. This year is our 50th anniversary, and our students are on target to see up to $1 million when it's all said and done in projects that are sold by the generous donations and the philanthropy of our community. So I'm very excited about that because this is Tomball is still a very big agricultural community, and it means a lot. But the other part to that is that's a portion of the year, right? It doesn't take all year to do that. And the minute we turn around the ag show and it's completed, it turns into a FIRST robotic arena. And we are able to rent that facility to the FIRST Robotics Association. And we have a national robotic competition. So I think the mindset is in Tomball and really needs to be everywhere that although dollars are limited, look to what you have and find ways in which you can generate continual revenue. So you've got the BJ services turned into Baker Hughes oil and gas. I have a 5-year contract, a generous revenue there. And then, of course, the robotics arena that I mentioned. I'm not sure if I mentioned the wastewater treatment plant. So when you think about growth in a community, my community 12 years ago when I arrived had less than 10,000 students. Today we'll be at 24,000 very soon, 1,000 students. So more than doubled in size. So the community has continued to pass successful bonds. And one of those projects was a wastewater treatment plant. Not something you hear a lot of superintendents talk about in education, but it's something that every community must have. What we've done though is we've been able to enlarge the footprint of that so that an infrastructure, non-educational, maybe a strip mall, maybe a home subdivision, if they need that service, they're able to tap into at a cost, and basically serve as a mud for wastewater treatment work. And so, again, those are out of the box, not things that you generally hear an educator talking about, but those are opportunities that we have within our district that I think other people have as well. I laughed the first time at the national superintendent uh, when I was a candidate or a finalist for national superintendent. I laughed when one of the judges said, you know, you're really like the enterprise superintendent. And I had never thought of it that way, but it's true. And I think more superintendents need to think that way. We didn't necessarily go to school to be business individuals, but you are, as a school superintendent, you are a CEO of a business of sorts, right? The business is education. It's improving the lives of children and overall our community. You have to have the dollars to do that. And with dwindling local, state, and obviously federal dollars, a lot of uncertainty with funding at the federal level, we've got to find ways in which we can continue to generate dollars to ultimately channel and funnel that all back in to the great things that we're doing in public education. So back to the site that I started with there, we've just recently had an additional court proceeding where we actually have a court, it looks like a courtroom, and a judge has come and held court again. They hold teen court in the courthouse in that room. And the best part of that is an actual judge comes and works with our students who want to become future lawyers, and they're able to experience a day in teen court. Our aviation students are continuing to rack up their miles and simulators, and before you know it, we'll have our first pilot out of that program. And the aviation mechanics program continues to grow. This last bond really brought us additional room there, where we have dollars to grow some of the warehouse space. And we will see, we're bringing in the electrical program there, where students can sit for their master electrician license upon graduation after the expertise and knowledge that they gain in the electrical program. The sky is really the limit. We're going to work with our board and work with our community and our economic development, Chamber of Commerce, to decide what's next. What more does our community need? The last thing we want to do is prepare students for a job that's not there. One of the biggest challenges we have in public education today, or education overall, is that we continue to prepare kids for jobs, some jobs that don't even exist today. So you're really trying to think of, what is AI going to do? What does a future position like this look like? And better prepare our kids for that future, not the traditional, not the past that we grew up in, right? But the future that they will become the workforce, the entire workforce when we're not doing this anymore, Gary. So that was a lot to say for your one question.
Yeah, it's funny. As you're talking, I'm getting more and more questions, and so this is a unique model. I guess the first question, it's a unique model. Is this something that's taught at conferences and other, to other or taught in school, like when somebody's preparing to be a superintendent? Is this?
Absolutely not. Honestly, we get a limited class or two in school finance, and it very meagerly prepares you, I think, for what that looks like. School finance is a monster in itself. I mean, it's ever changing and it's challenging, right? And many districts are having to write deficit budgets at this time, which makes it even more challenging. That's not something you ever want to do. I'm very proud to say that we passed a balanced budget, but it came with a lot of massaging and making sure that we got everything where we needed it to be so that we could do that. No, to answer your question, I'm happy to talk. I've been asked to speak at different places and talk to leaders about, it's a mindset, really. It's about looking at what you have, even when you think there's nothing here in this community that's going to generate revenue. I would push back and say there is. You just have to find it. You have to think beyond what you traditionally think of as that empty building, that abandoned something, that whatever that has some space. What do you currently have, or what is in your community that you could possess that could in turn benefit not just you, but the community. What we're doing isn't just about the kids, it's really benefiting the community as well.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it so amazing because, and you mentioned mindset, and I think it all boils down to like how you look at things and how there's so much opportunity right in front of you, or in front of anybody that they may or may not see. So it sounds like this model, this process model, whatever you want to call it, enterprising model, is something y'all kind of develop just based on, is that true or?
It is. I mean, I think that in my mind, when we looked at the purchase of the Tomball Innovation Center, I had just come out of my visit through AASA at Dreamscape at the Arizona State University. So in my mind was innovation, AI, virtual reality, which we've continued to grow in, and provide. There on site, we've got cybersecurity, and we're bringing in e-gaming and doing different things, right? But I think that it was never about all of that. It was about finding space for our kids, the finding additional opportunities for academic success and options, because we hear a lot about private schools and charter schools having options, but yet public schools do too. You just need to continue to share that with the community. Now, the ability to generate revenue really came from purchasing the site, coming out of COVID, and having a building number one that was completely retrofitted for what was needed for the oil and gas industry. And not, we could have taken that out and turned it into something else. But when Baker Hughes was interested, it made more sense. Now, initially they wanted a 10-year contract. And I said, I think that's too far out, because I don't know. We might want to do something innovative and different down the line. But for right now, it's serving them well, and it's serving us well too. Again, because we're able to turn around and utilize those dollars that are the enterprise dollars for other things that our district needs to enhance our student educational experience, really.
Yeah, this is unique because I mean every school district, and sometimes you hear, um it's just a mentality, it's just a mindset of yeah, like you said, you got the private schools, charters, you have all, these different situations, and it's so easy to feel like it's a lose-lose situation
Right.
versus playing a completely different game. um are these are these like after school programs, or are these like classes
Oh,
during the
no,
day?
these are classes. This is part of our career and technical education, and part of our pathways to learning. So these are, you've got year one, year two, year three, depending on what are you in graphic design. Okay, well, we don't start you right on the equipment. Our kids have an entire business model where they're making money off of the graphic designs and the things that they're creating. Is it luggage tags? Is it signs? Is it covering doors or window frames for individuals with a logo, a model they can go out in the community and in our district even. They create pop-ups for us. They do things for conferences. So those individuals in the business pathway are learning that, but they didn't start right on the equipment creating all this, right? They started on computers, or even very traditional learning initially, and then work their way up in year one, two, three, and four. Multiple, whether it's the 911 call center that dovetails nicely with law enforcement. We have the law enforcement simulation room where kids go in, and it's intuitive to, if you were to walk in to a domestic violent situation, the student has to react a certain way as an officer in training. Depending on how the student reacts as pretending to be an officer, of course, then the simulation will change in very real-time live situations. So we've been able to rent that space to police officers, to departments that come to our facility for training. Again, benefiting us, but also benefiting the community, all while making a little bit of money in an enterprise mindset.
How does the state or other, oversight, financial oversight type people, the state government, the federal government, how do they view this? Because you're getting additional revenue coming in, and I know from what I've heard, they like to control the purse strings.
No, not at all.
How do they feel about all this?
So I think they're just figuring this out. I think they're just waking up to wait. Wait, what? What are they doing? Because it's such a different model, right? You don't hear this very often. But there's nothing. Now we obviously have to have the accountability. We have the enterprise, an actual enterprise account where we have the accounting for our community and anybody that has an interest to see, what dollars are they generating, whether it's renting our event center, whether it's whatever it might be, right? It's really just keeping that accountability, keeping that accounting straight and separate for review. Our auditors, we have district auditors. That's a normal process, of course. They come to see our federal programs, our state, our local, but they also review that as well. And so we're not, it's not as if the state says we're going to reduce the amount that we send you because you're making this money, but it is unique. But I hope that we get to a point where it's not unique and more people recognize I too can do this and provide more for my kids.
The conversations you have with the financial oversight people, for lack of better words, is it well received? I mean, are they typically like, oh, that's a great idea, or is it more like, what are you guys doing over here? Like it's.
I think they're open to it. It's just still unique. So there's obviously a little bit of they're first a little leery, and then they're somewhat in awe of like, oh wow, this is exceptional. And so I think I mentioned it this last time, but I would be remiss, and anybody who knows me knows that I have to say this. I'm super proud of Tomball ISD's academic performance. We are, if you're familiar with Harris County in the greater Houston area, very large. We have 48 public school systems and 43 charter school systems. So a lot of kids, millions of children in our area. We are the only A-rated school district in the greater Houston area and in Harris County and Montgomery County. So 2 counties. And that is the accountability system that Texas, our rating system. It is just a window of time. It's an assessment. It's a student assessment on one day. That might change based on current what's happening in the legislature right now in Texas. But ultimately, when you think about teaching and learning and academic success, that's what we're about, right? It's the whole child. And we do see to the whole child, their mental health and their social emotional learning. But when you are rated on a system, don't you want the A? I'm proud to say that our kids are achieving it high at a very high standard, but part of that comes with providing additional opportunities and finding ways to continue to do that when times are very tough. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It does. And it's obviously working. Yeah, it's a snapshot in time, but being different, it's obviously working. Excuse me. Got some allergies going on here. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, and I imagine it's fun for the students because they're not just staring at a textbook all day. They're applying what they're learning. And how do other districts? How has it been received by other districts? Is it are other people trying to learn this, or they have skepticism around it, or?
I think there's a little bit of both. What I usually hear is, yeah, but that wouldn't work where I'm at. That wouldn't, and I get that, right? I don't know if I would sit in a presentation hearing this and think I can make that happen. And no, not everybody has an oil and gas company of 70, of the size, right? Of the facility size, the lot size available to them for bankruptcy. That doesn't always happen, but I do believe that everybody has something in their capacity, in their reach, that they can turn into something, right? Some opportunity for kids. I do believe that.
And you hear that response on a lot of big ideas. Oh, well, yeah, that wouldn't work for me, or that would
right.
So I mean, it seems like even in a rural community where there's not a whole lot of businesses, you could have virtual businesses.
Everyone has something, right? That's the goal for me, is to I think broaden that mindset and help them realize that no, you may not have this, but you likely have something. Find that something.
Yep. Okay. Well, any other last thoughts before we close out the podcast? I know I appreciate you coming on here again. We're gonna have to make this a recurring thing where you come back every quarter or something to
I
just
would love that. I want to encourage every leader out there, central office, school board member, superintendent, even parent, um, push yourselves beyond what you think is possible, and you would be amazed. In Tomball IC, we love to say we want for every child to find a place to belong, a passion to pursue, and a love for learning that serves them well beyond the years they are with us. And that's what we believe we're better preparing them for, because our mantra is we are not just a district, but a destination. Not just a destination, but destination excellence. So thank you so much for your time.
love it. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. And I look forward to having you on again. Hopefully our listeners, I know if you're not getting something out of this podcast, I don't know what to say really. So I really appreciate your time and
My
we do.
pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do want to give one final shout out to our sponsor, I Do Impact. I Do Impact's giving away hundreds of millions of dollars to public education in the form of a free gift. So if your district needs unrestricted funds, reach out to I Do Impact. And for those that have been tuning in, stay tuned for future episodes of the Educational Leadership Podcast.